Welcome to Accurate Appraisal Partners. My name's Eric. I'm a real estate appraiser, and I've done this for about 15 years, and I'm going to start a video series to help shed some light on the appraisal business and appraisal industry, mostly for the consumer, maybe the realtor, maybe the banking industry, I don't know, but there's a lot of misconceptions about appraisals, so I thought I would do a weekly video series or bi-weekly or even a couple times a week. I'm going to try to keep these to straightforward videos and not rants. You know, sometimes there might be some stuff I want to discuss that might turn into a little bit of a rant, but in general, this is going to be a straightforward video series. So video one, let's just start simple. What is an appraisal? There's many misconceptions, especially this day and age with technology, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. I don't know, there's several out there. There's a lot of mathematical models that do appraisals or market valuations, automated valuations, and this makes everybody an expert. And granted, nowadays with a lot of the data, if there's a good market, then a lot of these mathematical models and websites are correct, you know, so it does make people more informed, but it'll also make people disinformed too, because a lot of times this stuff is not correct. Typically these markets models or mathematical models work better in big cities, you know, where there's lots of sales and everything's pretty cookie cutter or standardized. Rural areas or more complex areas, even in cities that are older areas or areas that are built out differently, you're going to see, you know, different values for different properties. And it's not so straight down the line, or there's not really a baseline they can follow. So let's get to it. What is an appraisal? It's basically, there's different types of appraisals, but it's where I or another appraisal professional, licensed appraiser, probably certified appraiser, is going to come out and look at your property. We're going to go out, take pictures, we're going to do a lot of measurements, we're going to ask questions about the type of property, you know, what kind of physical characteristics does it have, you know, ask if there's any easements or anything, and then that's the easy part. And after that, then we go back and we form an opinion of value about your property. That's pretty much the nitty gritty of it, but there's a lot of misconceptions. There's different types of appraisals. The main appraisal right now is a full appraisal, and this is where we do come out on site, take lots of measurements, lots of photos, ask you several questions, and then come back with that data and then compare your house to the market to see what the value is based on other sales, not listings, but sales in the area. There's also drive-by appraisals. These are where we go and take a picture and, you know, usually of the front, address, street, maybe sides if we can get it, or rear if there's an alley, and then try to base our appraisal off of exterior data. It's not as accurate, but in a subdivision or something, there's still pretty good appraisals, and it's a little bit easier. Not necessarily quicker depending on workload, but easier. There's also desktop appraisals. I personally don't really get into those because I like to know what I'm looking at firsthand. So that's your basics of an appraisal. Appraisals aren't formalities. That's getting to be a new statement that a lot of banks are like to use, or loan officers, where they come in and say, oh, well, you know, we got your title done and we got your credit done, and all we need now is the appraisal. It's just a formality. Once we get the darn appraiser out there and get the appraisal done, then, you know, your loan's finished. Well, not necessarily, because the appraisal is what dictates your loan. I mean, the bank or the mortgage company or the lending institution, credit union, whatever, they want to know what your property's worth before they lend on it. If you're going to get a $100,000 loan and the market only dictates your property's worth $80,000, then they're probably not going to lend it. So this isn't a formality. I mean, yes, it's part of the process, and even if they do away with appraisers, like a lot of people would like to, there's still going to be some kind of an automated valuation system, or a desktop appraisal, or you know, bank appraisal or in-house appraisal, where they're going to determine a baseline or a fair market value of your property to determine whether they want to lend on it. They're not going to lend on it blindly. I know they do have these appraisal waivers now, and I've heard that they just passed law. This is November 2019, and they just passed law a little while ago to do $400,000 appraisal waivers. So there is that option, but then I think that's going to open up a whole new can of worms down the road if we ever have another bubble burst, which personally I think there's going to be some stuff coming, but that'll be in a later video. So to keep this video short and sweet, this is kind of an introduction. Also, the basics of an appraisal is, the lender's going to contact us, or nowadays the lender's actually going to probably contact an AMC, appraisal management company. They're going to contract us. We're going to get in touch with you. We're going to come out. We're going to look at your property, take a lot of notes, a lot of pictures, depending on the property. Sometimes it's more in depth, other times it's not. And then we go back and then we look for sales in the area, and then base your home's value off of comparable sales. I mean, that sounds really simple. There's a lot more to it, and you'll see as we do this video series. But that's the basics of it. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time to get an appraisal done, but at the same end, like everybody, we're busy, so it does take longer than expected. We're all trying to curve that, and they're trying to come out with different products to help speed up the process. But as of now, I mean, it's just part of it. So that's the basics of the appraisal business. Anyway, I hope this helped a little bit. I'll try to do more video series and maybe try to get some good videos out to help further understand this. Thank you. You can see my website at www.accurateappraisalpartners.com, or you can click on the link below.